The genesis of the cursed fleet. A curse echoed among the stars. The damned fleet of Earth sought bloody vengeance, and the Galactic Council would soon face humanity's wrath. Captain John Hawkins sat in the command chair of the UESF Indomitable, staring into the void of space. A decade ago, the naive people of Earth sent messages of peace and friendship to the galaxies, but the alien Zorgans answered with cruelty, slaughtering millions in Earth's first colony among the stars. The Galactic Council ignored humanity's cries for justice. Filled with rage, humans secretly built weapons, ships, and tools of war. Hawkins and his battle-scarred crew had one purpose: to strike at the heart of the Zorgan scum. If this mission into Zorgan space failed, more human lives and colonies would perish in alien flames. This was humanity's last chance for survival and retribution. Succeed or be erased from the universe forever. Hawkins gripped the chair and gritted his teeth. It was time to remind the galaxy of mankind's power. The bridge of the Indomitable buzzed with activity as the crew prepared to make the jump to null space. Ensigns and lieutenants rushed between stations, making final checks on the ship's systems. The escort ships reported in, signaling their readiness. Captain Hawkins leaned forward in his chair, his eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying the vast expanse of space before them. Suddenly, a notification blinked on the communications console. "Captain, incoming message from Admiral Chen. It's marked as urgent," the comms officer reported. Hawkins narrowed his eyes. "Put it through." The viewscreen flickered, and the stern face of Admiral Chen appeared. "Captain Hawkins, we have a situation. The Galactic Council knows about your mission. They're demanding that we stand down immediately. They say if we proceed, there will be severe consequences for Earth." Hawkins clenched his jaw. He had expected the Council to interfere, but not this soon. "With all due respect, Admiral, we can't back down now. The Zorgans need to pay for what they've done. If we let the Council push us around, they'll never take us seriously." Admiral Chen sighed. "I understand your position, Captain, but we need to consider the bigger picture. Defying the Council could lead to sanctions or, worse, an all-out war. Is that a risk we're willing to take?" Hawkins stood up from his chair, his voice rising with conviction. "We're already at war, Admiral. The Zorgans declared war on us the moment they attacked our colony. The Council sat back and did nothing while our people died. No more. We won't bow to the whims of alien tyrants any longer. We'll show them that humanity won't be pushed around." There was a long pause as Admiral Chen considered Hawkins' words. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, Captain. Proceed with your mission, but know that the consequences of your actions will fall on all of us. Good luck out there." The view screen went blank, and Hawkins turned to his crew. "You heard the Admiral. We're going ahead with the plan. Prepare to enter null space on my mark." The crews scrambled to their stations, their faces a mix of determination and apprehension. They knew the risks they were taking, but they also knew what was at stake. Earth's survival hung in the balance. Hawkins gripped the armrests of his chair as the ship's engines hummed to life. "Mark." The Indomitable and its escorts leaped forward, the stars stretching into long lines as they entered the swirling vortex of null space. The ship shuddered as it accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, the hull creaking under the strain. Inside the ship, the crew braced themselves as the inertial dampeners struggled to compensate for the extreme velocities. Some gripped their consoles tight while others closed their eyes and muttered prayers to whatever gods they believed in. Hawkins stared straight ahead, his eyes fixed on the chaotic maelstrom of null space. He knew that they were heading into the heart of enemy territory, where unknown dangers awaited them. The Zorgans would not take kindly to their intrusion, and the Galactic Council's threats loomed large in his mind. But Hawkins was prepared to face the consequences of his actions. Earth needed a victory, and he would do whatever it took to deliver one, even if it meant going to war with the entire galaxy. As the ship hurtled through the void, Hawkins couldn't help but wonder what challenges lay ahead. Would they find the Zorgans' weakness and strike a blow for humanity, or would they be crushed under the weight of the Council's wrath? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: the Indomitable and her crew would not go down without a fight. They were the last hope for Earth, and they would not fail. The ship pressed on into the unknown, carrying the fate of humanity on its shoulders. Battle in the void. The Indomitable shook as it dropped out of null space, the swirling vortex collapsing behind the ship. Alarms blared on the bridge as the crew scrambled to their battle stations. The view screen lit up with a dizzying array of contacts: Zorgon warships, defense platforms, and swarms of fighter craft, all converging on the Earth fleet's position. Evasive maneuvers, Hawkins barked, gripping the armrests of his chair as the ship lurched to the side, narrowly avoiding a barrage of energy beams. The Zorgon ships were sleek and angular, their hulls shimmering with advanced shielding technology that had long been the envy of the galaxy. The Earth fleet returned fire, their weapons impacting harmlessly against the Zorgon shields. The enemy ships seemed to shrug off the attack, their own weapons glowing with an ominous red light as they prepared to strike back. "Captain, our weapons are ineffective against their shields," the tactical officer reported, his voice tight with tension. Hawkins nodded grimly. He had expected this. The Zorgon had always been one step ahead when it came to defensive technology. But Earth had a surprise in store for them. "Prepare to deploy the null cannons," Hawkins ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around him. The bridge crew exchanged glances of anticipation and fear. The null cannons were Earth's secret weapon, a devastating device that could tear through any known shielding and rip apart the very fabric of matter itself. But they had never been tested in battle before. "Null cannon ready, sir," the weapons officer reported, his hand hovering over the firing controls. Hawkins took a deep breath, knowing that the fate of Earth rested on his next command. "Fire." The ship shuddered as the null cannons unleashed their destructive power. Beams of pure white light lanced out from the Indomitable and its escort ships, cutting through the Zorgon shields like a hot knife through butter. Zorgon ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light, their hulls twisting and warping as the fundamental forces that held them together were disrupted. The Zorgon fleet reeled in confusion and disarray as the Earth ships pressed their advantage, carving a path of destruction through their ranks. Fighters scattered like frightened birds, their pilots unable to comprehend the sheer power of Earth's new weapon. On the bridge of the Indomitable, the crew cheered as they watched the Zorgon ships fall before them. Hawkins allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction, but he knew that the battle was far from over. "Keep firing," he ordered, his eyes fixed on the view screen. "We need to punch through their defenses and strike at their command center." The Earth fleet surged forward, the null cannons pulsing with deadly energy as they tore through the Zorgon lines. The enemy ships fought back desperately, their weapons firing in frantic bursts, but they were no match for the sheer destructive power of Earth's secret weapon. As the Indomitable and its escorts broke through the last line of defense, Hawkins felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through his veins. They were close now, so close to striking a blow against the heart of the Zorgon Empire. But even as they pressed on, Hawkins knew that the real battle was just beginning. The Zorgons would not take this defeat lightly, and the Galactic Council would surely respond with fury to Earth's defiance. The road ahead would be long and bloody, but Hawkins was ready to face whatever challenges lay in store. Earth had suffered for too long at the hands of alien oppressors, and it was time to take a stand. With grim determination, Hawkins ordered the fleet to continue their advance, the null cannons blazing a trail of destruction through the heart of Zorgon space. Clash of Titans. The Earth fleet surged toward the Zorgon homeworld, the null cannons primed and ready to deliver the killing blow to the heart of the alien empire. But as the planet came into view, a sight emerged that made even the battle-hardened crew of the Indomitable falter. A massive armada hung in space between the Earth fleet and their target, an imposing wall of alien metal bristling with weapons. Ships of a dozen different designs and sizes formed a flank, united under the banner of the Galactic Council. The Council fleet dwarfed the human ships, outnumbering and outgunning them by an order of magnitude. "Captain, we're being hailed by the Council flagship," the comms officer reported, his voice trembling slightly. Hawkins narrowed his eyes. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing the sneering face of Admiral Zaker, the commander of the Council fleet. The Krell Imperium officer cut an intimidating figure, his scale, skin, and razor-sharp teeth a testament to his species' predatory nature. "Captain Hawkins," Zaker hissed, his voice dripping with disdain, "you and your fleet have violated the sacred laws of the Galactic Council. Cease your advance immediately and surrender, or face the full wrath of our combined forces." Hawkins stood tall, his resolve unwavering. "Admiral Zaker, the Zorgans massacred our people, and the Council did nothing. We will not stand by and let our colonies be destroyed. We seek justice, not conquest. If you stand in our way, we will defend ourselves." Zaker's eyes narrowed to slits. "You humans are a primitive, reckless species, and you have overstepped your bounds. Very well, Captain. You have chosen war. Prepare to be annihilated." The view screen went dark as the Council fleet opened fire. A storm of energy beams and missiles hurtled toward the Earth ships, the sheer volume of firepower overwhelming. The Indomitable shook violently as its shields strained to absorb the impacts. "Return fire. All ships, engage at will," Hawkins shouted, his voice barely audible over the cacophony of battle. The Earth fleet fought back with everything they had, the null cannons blazing as they targeted the Council ships. Beams of white light sliced through the enemy ranks, but for every Council ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. The battle raged with a ferocity unmatched in human history, the void of space lighting up with the flashes of exploding ships and the streaks of energy weapons. Despite their advanced weaponry, the Earth fleet was slowly being overwhelmed. The Council ships were relentless, their superior numbers and firepower taking a heavy toll on the human vessels. One by one, the escort ships fell, their hulls breached and venting atmosphere into the cold vacuum of space. On the bridge of the Indomitable, the situation was dire. The ship's shields were failing, and the hull was riddled with breaches. Hawkins gripped the armrests of his chair, his knuckles white with the effort. He refused to let despair take hold. "We can't give up now," he muttered to himself. "Not when we're this close. Captain, the enemy is focusing their fire on us. We won't last much longer," the tactical officer warned. Hawkins nodded grimly. He knew that the Council fleet was trying to cut off the head of the Earth forces. If the Indomitable fell, the rest of the fleet would lose their nerve. "Divert all power to the null cannons. We need to take out their flagship. It's our only chance." The crew worked frantically, rerouting power from non-essential systems to the weapons. The ship's lights dimmed, and the hum of the engines grew louder as the null cannons charged to maximum capacity. "Target locked," the weapons officer reported. Hawkins took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the view screen. "Fire." The Indomitable unleashed a blinding beam of white light, the null cannon's energy focused into a single, devastating shot. The beam struck the Council flagship, piercing its shields and tearing through its hull. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as the massive ship buckled and twisted, its structural integrity failing. Then, with a blinding flash, the flagship exploded, the shockwave rippling through the Council fleet. Cheers erupted on the bridge of the Indomitable, but Hawkins knew that the battle was far from over. The Council fleet was momentarily disoriented, but they would regroup soon. They needed to press their advantage. "All ships, concentrate fire on the remaining Council vessels. We need to break their formation and make a path to the Zorgan homeworld," Hawkins ordered. The Earth fleet rallied, their spirits lifted by the destruction of the Council flagship. They fought with renewed vigor, the null cannons continuing to wreak havoc on the enemy ships. Slowly but surely, they began to push through the Council lines, inching closer to their ultimate goal. But even as they fought on, Hawkins knew that their time was running out. The Council fleet was still vastly superior, and the Earthships were on the brink of collapse. They needed to reach the Zorgan homeworld and deliver their message of vengeance before it was too late. With a final desperate push, the Indomitable and its remaining escorts broke through the Council blockade, their path clear to the Zorgan homeworld. But the price had been high, and the fleet was battered and bruised. As they approached the planet, Hawkins steeled himself for the final confrontation. Earth's fate rested on their shoulders, and there was no turning back now. The final battle for humanity's survival had begun. The final stand, the Zorgan homeworld, loomed before the Earth fleet, a sprawling metropolis of alien architecture and advanced technology. The planet's surface was covered in vast cities and military installations, a testament to the power and might of the Zorgan Empire. As the Indomitable and its escorts descended into the planet's atmosphere, they were met with a hail of anti-aircraft fire and defensive shields. "Captain, the Zorgans have activated their planetary defenses. We're taking heavy fire," the tactical officer reported, his voice strained with tension. Hawkins gritted his teeth. "All ships, initiate evasive maneuvers. Focus your fire on the defense platforms and shield generators. We need to create an opening for our ground forces." The Earthships weaved and dodged through the barrage of enemy fire, their null cannons targeting the Zorgan defenses. Beams of white light lanced out, striking the shield generators and defense platforms with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions rocked the surface as the Earth fleet punched holes in the enemy's defenses. As the fleet continued their assault, dropships and landing craft launched from the hangars of the Indomitable, carrying the ground forces that would spearhead the assault on the Zorgan capital. Soldiers in advanced battle armor, armed with the latest in human weaponry, prepared for the fight of their lives.
Threx and Zilra settled into their new lives, enjoying the quiet and solitude they had long yearned for. Their new home was a secluded planet, lush with greenery and teeming with wildlife. It was a far cry from the battlefields they had known, a place where they could finally find peace. The respite Threx spent his days tending to a small garden, finding solace in the simple act of nurturing life. Zilra, ever the strategist, took up teaching, passing on her knowledge to a new generation of tacticians who sought her out for guidance. They lived modestly, their riches hidden away for the day they might need them. A visitor. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, a visitor arrived. It was the former human operative who had defected to their side, now known as Anya. She had spent the years since the war working as a mediator, trying to bridge the gap between humans and other species. "Threx, Zilra," Anya greeted them warmly. "It's good to see you both. I have news that I think you'll find interesting." The warning. Anya explained that despite their efforts, tensions were rising again. The fragile peace that had been established was under threat, as new factions emerged, seeking to exploit the power vacuum left by the war. "I know you both wanted to leave that life behind," Anya said, "but we need your help. There's a new threat on the horizon, one that could plunge the galaxy into chaos once more." Threx and Zilra exchanged a weary glance. They had hoped to never be drawn back into the conflict, but they couldn't ignore the plea for help. The return. Reluctantly, Threx and Zilra agreed to return to the fold. They reconnected with old allies and gathered intelligence on the emerging threats. Their skills, honed through years of battle, were as sharp as ever. The emerging threat. The new threat came in the form of a mysterious and powerful faction known as the Dominion. Unlike any enemy they had faced before, the Dominion was highly organized, with advanced technology and a fanatical ideology. They sought to impose their will on the galaxy, using fear and intimidation to achieve their goals. Forming a coalition. Threx and Zilra worked tirelessly to form a coalition of species and factions willing to stand against the Dominion. They traveled across the galaxy, forging alliances and rallying support. It was a daunting task, but they knew that unity was their only hope. The battle plan. With the coalition in place, Threx and Zilra devised a battle plan. They would strike at the heart of the Dominion, targeting their key installations and leaders. It was a risky strategy, but one that offered the best chance of success. The final battle. The coalition launched a series of coordinated attacks, hitting the Dominion hard and fast. Threx and Zilra led the charge, their experience and leadership guiding their forces through the chaos. The battles were fierce, with heavy losses on both sides, but the coalition pressed on. A new hope. In a climactic